So let me go to Design Center first. Okay. So first thing, if you want to create the RAML, go to create new API specification, and you need to give name here. Okay. So let's say we are like designing this RAML for student. Student. So we'll give name here. And then here you can take RAML version. So this might be interview question. Sometimes they ask, what is the latest version of RAML which Anypoint platform support? That is 1.0. RAML has 2.0 also, but that is not supported by Anypoint platform. So highest version supported by Anypoint platform, that is 1.0. So we'll use 1.0.
Ravi, what about remaining version 0.8? Some of there in the
0.8 is lower version, okay, of RAML. And apart of that, you can write OAS Swagger also. Okay. So Endpoint platform support both RAML and Swagger. Okay. Sometime very rarely you will see Swagger, but yeah, still Swagger exists and it's very similar to RAM. Is it clear?
okay. Means OAS 2.0, OAS 2.0, these are all Swagger.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Ravi. Thanks.
Okay. And then create API. Okay. So first thing, by default, you will get RAML version and RAML title. Okay. Apart that, you can see here what you have selected. Based on that, you will get many suggestions. Okay. So as per suggestion, like you can take documentation. So you can document it like what is the, okay, instead of documentation, you can use this RAML is so here this RAML is describing the behavior of student. Okay. Next thing, Whenever we design the RAML, you need to define the resource. Okay, and we discuss resource name, we will keep student. So how to define resource name? This is the format of defining any resource. Forward slash, then name of the resource and colon. Then I kept enter. You can see automatically it took indentation. Okay. Then second thing what we need to define the method, and you can see suggestion also what all things you can define here. So we will define the method, and this we are going to create the resource. Then what method I will use? Example, we are going to register one student. So once we will register
Get
any
method.
student, sorry, get method you mentioned, anyone else?
Sorry, creating a resource. It's a put method. When registering new student, post.
Post. They
Yes,
will use
correct.
post.
So it will be post method. Okay. Since we are going to create new resource, okay, so method will be post. So we will select post. And after that, we will define request and response. Okay. So what is the request here? In request, we have this request body. Okay. We have request body, and sometime we might have header query parameter also. Let's say we have one header here. Can anyone tell me why we use header?
It's a metadata, right?
Yes. So header contains the metadata of our API. Let's say you want to pass any user ID and password like authentication detail, token detail, or you want to pass some transaction detail like transaction ID and all. So we do pass inside the header, and this data don't play any role for business logic. This data support the processing data. So one header is transaction ID and which contains string data. Okay. So first we will define one header. What is the name of the header? Name of the header is transaction ID. You can see there are many predefined header name is also there. Okay, if you want, you can use predefined name. If you want, you can give your name. Okay. Okay. So this is the name of the header. So whenever you are defining any element, there are multiple things you can define. First thing, required. Required, it has two value, true and false. If you are defining any element with required true, that means you must need to pass the value of that element, otherwise it will fail. Okay, so if you are defining true, then you must need to pass value for this particular element. And this element is part of header. So you must need to pass this header. Second thing, you can define type. Okay, so this particular element contains what kind of data? So this contains string data. So you can define string here. Okay, many other things you can define, but that we don't need, like max length, mean length. If you have any pattern for that particular element, you can define pattern. Okay, you can define example also. Let me define example. So this is the example of transaction ID. Okay, so in this way you can define the header. Now on same level of header, you can define query parameter. You can define request body. Okay, this is our request body. Okay, so now we will define this request body. So to define request body, we have body. Click on this. Then what kind of request body you are going to define? So we are going to use as a JSON. Okay, so we will take application JSON. Okay, and this particular request body will be of type JSON. Okay, so let me do this here. Okay, so this is the example. You can see what is the type of this particular request body. This is type of JSON object. So first thing we will define type. It will be object. Whenever you are defining type object, you need to define properties. Okay, so you need to define this properties. Okay, what all properties it has? This JSON object has this 5 properties. What is first property? Name. So here we will define. So what is the type of this name, type is develop string. Okay. And everything I will consider it's a required property. Okay. So required will be true, type will be string, and example we can give. So type will be string, required required true, example. Then we have rule type integer. Then we have date of birth. So type will be string, required true, example. Then we have address, type string, so you can get from suggestion also, you can type by yourself. Type required true and example. And let's say address is not required. Okay, so I'm making it false. That means even if you will not pass the address, it will not create a problem. And last is registration number. Type is okay. So we defined here request body. Okay. So first thing you need to take body, then what will be structure of body, application JSON, and then what kind of JSON it's JSON object. So first thing I define this type is object. Whenever type will be object, then you need to define the properties. Okay, what all property it has? It has 5 properties, so we define this 5 property. Name, role, date of birth, address, and registration number. And each property has their type, string or integer or whatever. And then required is true, means that is mandatory. Only one is required false, that is address, means even if you will not pass the address, it will work. Okay, and then example is there for everything. Okay, once you will complete this, you need to come on same level. Okay, and here we will define the response. So to define the response, you need to select response. Okay, and in HTTP API, whenever you are developing REST API, so you have multiple response code, 100, 200, 201, like that, and each response code has meaning. Okay, 200 means success response, 201 means resource created. In our case, we are creating new resource, so it will be 201. Like that, we have 400, 405, 401. So many codes are there which has different meaning. Okay, so from where you can get the meaning of that HTTP code? Just give me 1 minute. Yes, I'm back. Okay, so we define the response, and in response we have response code. Okay. Okay, I think it's already no fine. We have response code. Okay, then once we will click the enter, then what we define here, okay, how we define body for request. Same way we will define body for response, but we need to add this two additional thing. Okay, in case of response, there will be two additional thing like responses and response code, and then you will define the body. Okay. After this, you will define the body. कितने हो जाते हैं? Same way we will define the body, and then we will have application JSON. Everyone clear till this point?
Ravi, response won't have headers as well.
It can have, yes. In response, you can define the header.
In response, what is the purpose of header?
Sometimes you need to pass some explicit header. Okay.
No, headers are generally for security and the authentications.
No, it's not like only whatever metadata you have, you can pass inside header. It's not only for security.
So in response, can you give any example like when we use header?
Okay. See, by default, also in response, you will get some header. Okay. So many time I have seen our pen test team has requested exclude this header from response. Okay. Inclusion wise, I haven't seen they have requested anytime include this header, but many times they have asked us exclude this by default header since it might create some security concern. Okay. So like if you will say any particular header, like I think it's very difficult to say at this moment. I cannot recall. But what I have seen from my previous, like this project and all, means every time we got request to exclude the default header, not to include any particular header. Okay, but header will be part of response also.
No, but in general, we don't use headers in response.
We don't need to define it unless someone will request you, we want this header.
As you told, no, they ask you to exclude headers, means
Yes,
they never ask
yeah.
to include.
Yeah, that only I'm
In
saying.
general, we can say like we don't need headers in response frequently.
Generally, like what I feel like so far, you don't need to add any header in response from your side. Okay, it will not be any kind of requirement to add particular header. In request part, you will get many like many purpose where you will pass the header like security related thing, transaction related thing, then request body supporting detail like type of the data and everything. Okay. So for that part, you might need to add the header. Coming to response part, so far I haven't seen anyone requested to add any particular header, but I have seen they requested to remove the header. So your question was like header is there or not in response part? Yes, header will be there. Okay. And what kind of header we will add, that part I haven't seen any such requirement. So let me see if we have any. Let me explore on internet. Is it clear?
Yeah, sure, Ravi.
Yes. So in a response, only two things will be additional, that is response keyword and then this HTTP code. Okay. So HTTP code has different meaning. Okay, that you can explore on internet also. So you can see meaning of everything: 100, 200, okay, 201 created, 202 accepted, like that. 400 bad request, 401 unauthorized, 402 payment required, 403 forbidden, 404 not found. Okay, like that. When we have many status code, and for our case, I given 201 since this is for resource created. Okay, then body and then application JSON. And here, same way we will define this. Okay, so what will be type here? It has two elements, so it will be like this. You should always use camel case in naming and all. Okay, so first thing, same way here, type is object. Required true. Oh, sorry. After type, we don't need to give required true. We need to give properties. For that also we can do required, but it is not required. So property is fine. And what all property it has? Status code, status code, what will be type? String. Oh, sorry, status code is integer. Required true. Example. Status message. Type string. Required example.
Ravi, is it mandatory to give the required element every time? Means it's default it is taking as false.
Sorry.
Means is it mandatory to give the every time required field? Means
By
required.
default, it will be true. If you are not defining, by default, it's true. But if you
Okay.
want to make it false, you must need to define it.
Okay. By default, it's true. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So this part we are good. So this RAML is done. Let me do a small recap what we did. So here our resource name is student, which has method as a post since it's going to create new resource. Then it has header. So I define the header and header name is transaction ID. Header type like this transaction ID, this element is of required true means mandatory field. Type is string and it will have value like this. Then I define body and you can see body and header is on same level. Resource is there. The next level means one indentation is there. Then we have method and then one indentation is there where we have header, body and response also. Now coming to header, in next level we have element of this header that is transaction ID and this is the detail. On same level, what where we have header, we have body and body is of type application JSON. Okay, so that's why I took type object. Okay, so first application JSON and type object, JSON object. Okay, and within that JSON object, we have properties. What all properties we have? Name, role, date of birth, address, registration number. Okay, so first property we have name. Okay, for name, you can see type is string. Example is this. So type string, example is this and required true. If you will not put by default, it will be required true. But to explain, since there might be possibility, there are many non-technical persons are there. Once they will go through this, they will be able to understand clearly. So better to define this. Then role. This is the detail, date of birth, address, and registration. So all we detail we have given for body. Now on same level of body, we define the response. For response code you need to give first, and then how we define the request body, similar structure you need to give. Body, what kind of body is application JSON, type is object, and object has always properties. What all property it has? Two property, status code, status message. Okay, for status code, type is integer, required true. Example is this. Status message, type string, required true, and example is this. Okay, so in this way we define this RAML, simple RAML. This is not following all the standard. This is very simple one. Okay. If you want to see this RAML, here you can see student resource is coming in this part. Here student is there and student has post method. Okay, so it has one header. Header name is transaction ID and required true. Then body has this structure, request body, and response body. It has this structure. Okay. If you want to test it, just click on try it. and click on send. So when you are sending this request to this API is returning this. So what we are expecting, it has similar behavior. Okay. So you can validate, you can check the behavior of your API. So in header, you are passing transaction ID, and by default, this content type is coming. Okay. Since we are passing request body, the default content type will come, and transaction ID, you can use this value or you can add new value. This is the body of your API. So whenever someone will call your API, okay, they need to pass the transaction ID in header. They need to pass this body. And when they will call this API, they will get this kind of message. Everyone clear with this?
Yeah. And we check what's that. Okay.
Can you place the snippet in the chat, Ravi, so that we can refer for practice purpose?
Yes.
Don't map. So expression. Let's see, interest policy. Maybe the name is not one. Interest policy. And the expression, it's this one. And let's policy. Maybe. It's not that. We should check.
Maybe how to know the exact intended if anything wrong. It's showing the line number like that in RAM.
Yeah, if you will do any mistake in indentation part, it will be difficult to understand the proper error. Okay. So in RAML is not much difficult. Okay. Same thing you need to do again and again. But only thing you need to keep in mind, indentation should be correct. Okay. If you will do something wrong with indentation, then it will not show you exact error. Okay. So that part you must, like everyone must need to be very careful.
Yeah, means if practice only that will come. Right?
Yes, yeah, correct.
Okay.
So
Means
first I will
any other
suggest
tool to means the format the like that any online there.
don't think
On the source.
To auto format it.
I don't think we have any other tool. Anypoint platform is good. You can see many times we were getting suggestion on Android. Okay, so Anypoint platform is good for designing them.
Okay. Means if
So that's the second one.
to practice, then we need to know the spaces and all that.
And we have a member underscore. Let's copy this again.
So each, I think, have different answers.
Okay, so for today we are good.
I mean, start
Let me know if
after
anyone has
the
any other
source
query.
was targeted.
After, yeah, exactly.